Hi, my name is Shamara Clark. Hi, my name is Shamara Clark, and my capstone is all about an entrepreneur's lifestyle and building the right mindset. Okay. Initially, I started brainstorming my capstone idea my junior year of high school and made the final decision in the summer of 2018. Realizing that business is a passion of mine and I've been successful in all my business courses, I knew this was the right step. After meeting Dr. Burks, the superintendent of New Haven schools, while completing an FIDM challenge, she reassured me that I should continue on being a student entrepreneur. Okay, I am here because I want to encourage local entrepreneurs to develop an entrepreneurial mindset. I was able to do this by holding 2 sessions at the West Haven Public Library, one which was an information session, and the second one a networking Q&A. I worked with Ms. Williams, my mentor, during my project. She helped me find different ways to share my information to the community, decide on times and dates. I also worked with Kenyatta from the SBA, which is Small Business Association. She agreed to do a collaboration with me for my networking Q&A event. I worked with Colleen Bailey, the West Haven Public Library Director. She accommodated me with a free room for my senior capstone. To connect everything back to the magnet theme, I am on the business side of career. I am on the business side of career, and networking is very important. And I'm also a DECA president, a DECA vice president, and a co-president in Business Honor Society, which gives me the opportunity to lead and connect with my community. After completing Marketing 1 and doing the Nifty project, I was able to work with student entrepreneurs and present to large groups. I am also a posher, which gives me first-hand experience as an entrepreneur, and I've completed business concepts careers, digital media, marketing, and ethics in business. Originally, I was supposed to have 3 events, which was November 14th, November 28th, and December 5th. November 14th was canceled because the library aide forgot to post my event in the weekly flyer. And November 28th, I had an information session about what a capstone is and how my capstone will affect the community. And December 5th was a networking Q&A event where we all did activities and connected with local upcoming entrepreneurs. I had a few accomplishments while completing my project. One would be that I created an Instagram for entrepreneurs to see this information. I contacted 10 different entrepreneurs on social media, and they all agreed to do a phone interview. I created flyers, and I planned ahead of time, which made this entire process smooth, even with obstacles. A few obstacles I was faced with would be rescheduling on part of the library aide, stepping out of my comfort zone, talking to complete strangers over the phone and in person, and the third one would be improvising at the last minute when Kenyatta couldn't show up due to a business meeting. I learned a few things while completing my project. One would be that I was able to confirm my theory that entrepreneurship is not easy. 2 would be that I was able to interview successful entrepreneurs, some who are even millionaires or at least make $100,000 or more on social media. I learned that social media marketing has a huge impact on today's society, and if you don't have social media for your business, it's likely to fail. And 4 would be entrepreneurs like the idea of networking. The final outcome of my project would be that I had 2 successful sessions. There were 69 individuals all together, 9 in session and 60 followers. I was able to create a networking group, and these people have a support group now to connect and ask questions for one another. I was also able to inform myself and others, and I received 100% positive feedback that showed that entrepreneurship is not easy. Okay, so I highlighted a few points so we could talk about myths and facts. The number 1 myth would be being an entrepreneur is easy. That is true. Well, that's not true, but being an entrepreneur is rewarding but can be very challenging. 2, anyone could be a successful entrepreneur. Anyone with an entrepreneurial mindset can be very successful. And 3, entrepreneurs should keep their ideas a secret. That's completely wrong. Entrepreneurs benefit from sharing their ideas with one another and are given opportunities to work with different people. These are pictures from my event at the West Haven Public Library. Okay, thanks for listening. You guys have a minute or so to look through the folder. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Good job.
During the session and strangers online. And then the third one was improvising at the last minute when Kenyatta from the SBA couldn't show up due to a business meeting.
Okay, so when rescheduling, what were the steps? How were you able to compose yourself to continue to move forward?
Well, that same day, I called the library, spoke to Tanara Smith, who gave me the application. We went through different dates where I could reschedule it, and I wanted to have the event on a Wednesday from 5 to 6. And fortunately, the following Wednesday was open.
Was there a picture, was that an Instagram link on one of your slides?
Yes.
When you were talking about Instagram
Yeah, you
page?
can click on the link, please.
It's a live link?
Yes. Okay, when you scroll through, you can see like some of the posts I've made.
You created it?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Then what are you doing to market this page?
I try to post daily, and I post on the Instagram story and try to tag people on it and get people to interact with me.
Was it a warm feedback? Something that I noticed is that you connected the 21st century skills to your slides.
Yes, I included that at the top. There's 5 different 21st
Yeah, I
century
like that
skills.
because I remember asking, I'm just coming from some other ones,
You're told to
and
do that now, right?
there,
Capstone teacher tells you to do that? Because I keep seeing it. I just assume somebody told me to do that.
I went to a few and they didn't connect it. So I liked that you connected, that's why I didn't have to ask, I didn't have to guess if you did that. But I think at the beginning you mentioned meeting Dr. Burks and doing an FIDM challenge. What was that?
An FIDM challenge is with DECA, where you get to spend $25 and create a product and a video and post it on YouTube. So I went to Joanne Fabrics, and my idea was about Black Lives Matter because that was very popular that year. And I created crochet bracelets, and she did a survey, and she really liked them.
I think this is the first one I went to without any, what do you call those? Cards, index cards. I like that you didn't have any index cards. And today people have been just running me down for index cards, you know?
Must be you. I haven't seen them yet.
Yeah, the two I'm coming from, they had index cards. Nice.
No, I think your presentation was great.
Yeah.
Your behaviors were fantastic. And this is just because you have an experience with business. So when you say an entrepreneurial mindset, that means something to you. As a less informed individual, I need more detail. I'm sure Mrs. Williams understood exactly what you were talking about. I was struggling to figure out, okay, this is what you did. So, like, just remember who your audience is, and that's the only cool feedback I have. And it wasn't a big deal because I was able to figure it out as I went through. But you want to nail your audience right off and say, okay, this is what I wanted to achieve, and this is how I went about doing it. Okay?
Thank you.
I thought you did a fabulous job. You did a good job. Your composure. So, being able to look at us and then look at the slide and go back to it was a really good job.
Thank you.
I'm going to leave. Can I leave this here? Because I got to go.
Yeah,
Yeah.
top right.
3.
What I handed out has 4 surveys from a freshman, sophomore, junior, and senior, and then an empty survey just for you guys to look at, and then I have a couple slides attached, which is what I handed out to my share-out classes. So my name is Sona Mishra, and I did my project on student development. Basically, student development is the study of how a student grows and changes through their period of education. Education is K through 12, college, and beyond. So I chose this topic because of my interest in both psychology as well as education. I wanted to make sure that the project I was doing as my senior year project was something that I was very passionate about and included stuff I liked as well as I was interested in. So for this project, I had a lot of ideas. The three main ones I had were donating school supplies and researching on why education is so poor in some countries. I wanted to learn about how come America is so great and has a lot of educational opportunities, whereas some countries lack that same opportunities. Another idea I had was to research the mental strength needed behind a student. I thought this was very interesting because students that come from not such a strong support system have different difficulties than a student that comes from a strong support system. Putting these together, I finally agreed on doing the developmental stages that a student goes through during their educational period. I thought this put together both my interests as well as the ideas I had. So for my project, as soon as I started working on it, I created a list, basically a progress list that gave me all the timelines and deadlines of stuff I wanted done and by when. This kept me organized as well as my mentor when we had mentor meetings. This helped me know exactly what I have left and what I still need to accomplish. Over the course of my project, I also worked out a meeting schedule with my mentor. I wanted to make sure that I was very organized when it came to working with my mentor, so he knew what I was doing as well as I knew what I was doing. So, for my resources, Mr. Frank, he was my mentor. Mr. Brennan, he is an expert in psychology. He teaches a course here, and I also took that class, which is where my initial interest came. Mr. Donahue was my capstone teacher. He helped me a lot through this process because he kept me very organized on knowing what I need to do, and my journal entries helped a lot through this. The internet, my AP psychology notes, as well as my textbook were also resources I used frequently. So for my mentor meetings, we had met 3 times over the course of 2 months. Our first meeting was October 23rd, and in that meeting, I had told him my idea. We had narrowed down an idea and covered the different areas I wanted to hit in my research, just so I made sure I had a variety of points that I could use. My second meeting was on November 21st, and during this meeting, we came up with interested audience that would like to hear my research. This was probably the most difficult thing in my entire project because of the topic I chose. It's not directly a health-related topic or a business-related topic, so ensuring that I was choosing a class that would either learn about this stuff or understand what the vocabulary I was using was very important. And then our final meeting was December 5th, and in this meeting we had gone over my final presentation just to make sure I was happy with it, as well as my mentor. So for my research, this project actually taught me a lot. I learned a lot about how I developed as well as the people around me and the different stuff that I had learned. For this project, I learned about all 8 developmental stages, but I concentrated on 1 through 5 just because this is what we as students go through, and from 0 to 18, these are the stages we learn and we are developing through. So while I was doing my research, I came across the fact that these stages were actually first called psychosexual stages. They were called this because the person creating it had felt that you would develop these sexual stages at a very early age compared to a very late age. And later, after many years, it was modified to be called psychosocial theory stages. This is the same vocabulary we use to talk about them in class, as well as online you come across psychosocial stages. Stages 1 through 5, again, like I said, are what affect us. The students K through 12 are usually going through stages 1 through 5 and learning and developing those skills. When I was doing my research, I also came across the fact that about only 45% of Americans actually know developmental stages. Many of us just think that after a certain point we grow and mature and start to become this new self, but in reality it's all these stages and developmental things that happen without us even knowing. So for my share-out, I shared out to Mr. Brennan's 3B AP Psychology class as well as Mr. Osborne's 2A Economics class. In total, I presented to about 40 students and I got 40 surveys back. And in the packet I handed out to you guys, the last couple of pages actually have the slides that I handed out to each individual student just so they would have a good thing to look back on if they ever wanted to go back and analyze how they work. So for my survey analysis, I actually learned that only 18 out of 40 people knew what student development was, and out of those 18 to 40, only about 5 got it right. Many people just kind of, played with the words and kind of tried to make a meaning out of it. And something else I came across was only one student had felt they mastered all 5 skills. This was a sophomore student. I attached the survey with it. This student, I just want to point out the difference that, everybody's different. I'm 17, and I still feel that I'm developing these skills 1 through 5, whereas somebody who's probably 14 or 15 feels that they've already developed these skills. These are pictures of me in Mr. Brennan's 3B AP Psychology class. So my magnet theme here is health. I felt that my project was very closely associated to the theme, to my magnet theme here, because psychologists all around the world use these 8 fundamental stages to diagnose any patient. They do this because, it gives them a fundamental area to work off of. So my project also relates to my future goal, which is in the business industry. I may take health here, but in the future I do want to become a financial analyst. So doing this project has shown me that skills I need in the future, such as communication, independency, is what I learned from being a young adult, not just when I hit college. Like I said, the obstacles I faced during this, my biggest one was probably choosing an interested audience. I struggled a lot with this just because I wanted to make sure that the audience I was presenting to understood what I was saying as well as was interested in what I was saying. I did struggle with that, but I ended up finding, a psychology class that obviously would like what I was saying. And also being able to coordinate my schedule with the presenting class's schedule, just because those periods I did have important classes that I didn't want to miss. But I had worked it out so I could present as well as not missing class. My impact for this project, I feel that I really gave students as well as teachers the opportunity to reflect back on what they have done and where they are in these 8 developmental stages. I know that a lot of students in the class have given me a lot of positive feedback, knowing, oh, maybe I'm not, at this stage, or maybe I'm past this stage and very happy with where I am. My outcome of this project is I learned a lot, again, about student development. I've learned where I am and how I've, began learning and processing. I also was able to analyze where I stand. Again, I'm very happy with this project. I learned a lot of valuable information, as well as how I can talk and communicate with different people. If I could do this presentation again, I would choose one stage and concentrate on that stage, just so I could learn everything it has instead of learning, 1 through 8 and not being able to process all of that information. So this is my bibliography.